drive home on Hot 103. Folks, looks like that storm is headed right for us. Gonna put some gas in my Furman generator, stop by the ABC Fine Wine and Spirits, and of course watch Mike's weather page. Y'all stay safe out there.
All right, we made it just in time. Holy cow. I had to go run and find Longo. he gets around, this little guy. Right? We let him sleep in the bed last night for the first time. That was an experiment. Julie says it was terrible. We used to put him in the crate, and about 3 in the morning he would always wake up and then sleep with Julie on the couch until morning. But I think he did okay. So how is everybody doing? It's Monday. Where are you from? We're right here in Tampa Bay, home of the Bucks, with another nail biter. It's 3 in a row. It comes down to the last play or last drive in the fourth quarter. So yeah, that was a good one. For sure. We'll talk a little bit about the Rays and our meet and greets at ABC here in a second. We've got tropics slowly waking up. Robin, you are correct. The NHC playing some funny colors today. Okay, you're getting excited. He knows his brother is in the other room and he wants to go play. He was chewing on a bone. So yeah, today's first official day of fall, and we got an orange and red spot from the National Hurricane Center. No more yellow, so we'll get into all that, promise. Welcome. She said, Chivas? Appreciate it. Nobody should be nervous. There's nothing out there. Thank you, Harold. Deanne, good morning. Over there on TikTok. Lee County, Mama. Awesome. Happy Monday. What's up, Richard? How's it going, Richard? Good to see you over there at Cocoa Beach, Richard. Morning, Punta Gorda. Thanks for the pitch. Yep, I got a picture of it. We'll talk about it. But yeah. We'll see how long he'll stay up here. For sure. So a lot of tropics. Got got one eye open there, Ann. Yes, one eye. Nobody should be worried. Thank you for the pitch. Yep. Richard said it was nice meeting you. Here's a current look here. We're going to talk about 3 things, maybe 4 things down the road, but we're going to focus on a little bit on Gabrielle's. Gabrielle's passing east of Bermuda. No worries. We got 2 new spots now we're going to talk about. They're both highlighted for the NHC. So, I knew he was going to try to jump. He's a jumper. Okay, say goodbye. We don't know his weight yet, though. We don't know how big he's gotten. Are you 10 pounds yet? Give me a kiss. No yawn today. You want to try to yawn? Then we'll let you down. I don't think he's tired, so I don't know if we're going to get a yawn or not. Oh, anyway. Oh, my God. Okay. Outer Banks. Everybody's checking in. Bucks was good. Raves was fun. Yes. Gulfport, Steve. Hey, I got a lot of cool stuff from our Cocoa Beach meet and greet at ABC. Let me pull up a cool picture here. Shelly got to come over to that one. This was on Thursday. Were we live Thursday? Well, no, Friday. We weren't live Friday. So I haven't told anybody yet. Meet and greet was awesome. We had to be 400 or 500 people who showed up. So if you came Cocoa Beach, it was awesome. Shelly got some cool videos, and she got to hang out. The girls were there, Julie and Sarah and the dogs. And people brought me so much stuff. I'm going to put a little bit away at a time. Okay? So I got three things here. We had a bunch of folks from NASA showed up, and I got some really cool pins. These are going to go on my wall of memorabilia. I have another one here from the Challenger, and a Space Shuttle Columbia pin. Awesome. And I had Brevard County Sheriffs come over and gave me a plethora of stuff, including this awesome patch and challenge coin in a nice little letter kind of thingy there. So that's awesome. That's going on the wall. These little pins are going on the wall. And I got more stuff to talk about tomorrow. But I like to always do little hellos and shout outs when I get this cool stuff. So thank you, Brevard County Sheriff's Office. And we'll pull a pin out here and I'll make it official, because I get a lot of cool challenge coins. And there it goes. Plop. It's like a Plinko. It's like the old dropping a coin. So yeah, that was a fun meet and greet over at ABC. We really appreciate everybody that showed up. It was awesome. Yes, this weekend obviously was the Rays. I've shared that journey a ton. I don't know if I'm talking weather. No, you're probably not. Not today. What's up, Laura Reed? Good morning. Morning, Eddington, North Carolina. What's up? Morning, Miss Amos. How's it going? Outer Banks, another Outer Banks. Beautiful in Outer Banks, Matt says. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, there was a cool article floating around that was pretty good. The Jacksonville all the way down to the Keys had a... so yeah, Cheryl, good morning. Don't be nervous, Tabletop Geek. Definitely going to be watching it, though. That's DJ Kitty. Look at Sarah, man. She was so happy to be out on the field there. Hello there, Lake County, Philly. Pretty good times. There's a good shot of us out there. And, yeah, the first pitch was... Couldn't ask for it to go any better. Just said heck with it. Practiced all day the day before. My arm hurt on Saturday. I woke up. I'm like, this is not good. I'm like, this is bad. I was going to practice on the way to the Rays, and I'm like, you know what? I did so many throws. I'm just going to let instinct take over. And guess what? It's the way I've always rolled. Anytime I go on TV or do an interview, I get a little nervous, and then I'm like, you know what? Just let your instincts take over. And if you let your instincts take over, usually you'll do all right. Don't think. I just, there you go. I wanted to do the leg lift. So I got a video friend of mine that's putting together the whole experience, and I can't wait to share it. We had a lot of fun kind of behind the scenes on Mike's Twitter page, meeting a lot of fans at the stadium. So I'm hoping that might be something fun that everybody enjoys. So there you go. That was a good time. Let's see what else I got open up here. There's all of our friends that went. I want to give them a little hello. So I had 25 tickets I bought, and we were hanging out at the top of the third base It was a lot of fun. All right. There's my truck. Showed you a picture yesterday. I made sure everything's working. Somebody said, do you know something we don't know? I'm like, no, but I do know it's September in October. It was my monthly run the truck, make sure all the lights work, computer works, Starlink worked, router worked, backup battery worked. So if we have to go storm chasing, the truck's ready to go. So there you go. We'll see. Bucks was amazing. Yes. For sure. Cool weather up north, man. NASCAR was in the 60s, I think. It was crazy. All right, some long-range weather maps here. Just kind of briefly go over what's going on outside our tropical season. A lot of rain in the middle part of the U.S. This is the only thing that's long-range looking. Today, tomorrow. Wednesday, Thursday, a lot of rain in the upper parts. Could be some flooding to worry about. Here's overall totals for the next 5 days. That old frontal line is backing up for South Florida, so they're going to have increased rain chances. I-4 South could get about an inch in the next 5 days. Nothing dramatic. Very low rain chances overall. High pressure is coming back, bringing those temperatures back. Bobo, yeah, I will definitely come to OBX if we get another storm. I couldn't come to a couple of them because of timing, but I do intend to head up there. Not wishing anything, obviously, but you never know. Kay from Minneapolis. Julie was born and raised from Bloomington, which is outside of Minneapolis. So there's your rainfall. There's all the heavy rain up north. We got excessive rainfall to watch today. Here you go. Yellow. Could be some rain in there. Wichita, Kansas, Oklahoma there. Day 2 tomorrow. Spreads a little bit off to the east. Large area of Arkansas there. And to Tennessee tomorrow. Flooding. Wednesday, it slides a little bit farther off to the east again. A lot of mountains up there. So obviously always watching for flash floods for Wednesday. And then Thursday, it goes a little farther east. So we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, there's a line. That's a frontal line. So our next front could be coming into the picture the end of the week. We'll see how far down it goes, but that's a frontal line rain band, okay? Tropics, fall colors. First day of fall, we got red and orange. Duluth, we drove to Duluth while we were there. Saw the bridge. Pretty cool to see those big freighters coming in off the lake. Such a massive lake. That water, that road that we took north of Duluth, looking over those banks, there's a lighthouse up there, and seeing how crystal clear that water is, and you could see all the way down the rocks, and it was like glass. So awesome. I don't remember which lake it was, but Longo needs some Blues Brothers shades. Okay, hey, there's a little NC Rob, a little information for me. Thank you, Ben. Hey, thank you. Mary Ann from Tallahassee. What's up? Who we got over here on TikTok? We go. Let's see. Anybody say anything over there I need to say hello to? Then we'll go right into the tropics. All right, so first off, there's nothing out there on the horizon that's like scary, okay? It is September. We got a lot of conditions. We talk about them all the time. We got water temps are still hot. We're kind of in this positive phase of the MJO. We're going into La Nina. So the environmental overall conditions are definitely there. Like if you look back at history and say what makes storms happen, then the conditions that we got brewing right now are there. Doesn't mean anything except we got to watch. I mean, the last week I talked about a spot that was ahead of the red spot, and now it's on the NHC map. So this first wave is getting kind of interesting. It's nearing the islands. I got some timing maps to show you. We're going to talk about it. And again, there's no modeling that suggests anybody should be worried other than aware. No more aware than you normally are during hurricane season. That's part of hurricane season. Gabrielle's now Cat 3. Man, it just tells you environment. At one time, they barely had it as a hurricane. Rapid intensification. I didn't know it was That's strong. Here's the water vapor map, kind of showing you what things right now. Gabrielle spinning east of Bermuda. This big old blobby mess is the orange wave right here, and then the one behind it is the red wave, and then I'm surprised they didn't mark that one, but we probably will eventually. So we're going to talk about these two right here today, right now, after Gabrielle. Oh, David, it is very dry. Well, David, up in the Mobile area, you all have had a cold front from August till now, it seems like. And there's another one coming Friday. We'll see how far down it goes. But definitely, reminds me of 2023. We had 22 storms in 2023, and really only one storm anybody remembers in 23, and that was Idalia. A lot of fish storms, to me, a fish storm is when it doesn't affect Bermuda or Nova Scotia or Newfoundland. If a storm truly doesn't hit anybody, yeah. But we got to remember there's other people. And that hurricane or the typhoon or whatever is on the other side of the globe is massive right now. I really don't follow that kind of weather, but anyway. All right, so this is Gabrielle now, 120 miles an hour. That's a major hurricane, and luckily it's passing just east of Bermuda, barely. Look at that, real hurricane in the Atlantic. Here's Bermuda, and look how lucky. I mean, it's amazing. That little island sits out there like a sore thumb and does rarely get hit with hurricanes. So, Chrissy, yeah, we don't want the I storm. M is the new I. M storms. Milton replaced Michael. Looks like they'll have a new M name in 6 years. They'll vote on a new M name after they retire a name. We'll have a new one in 6 years. Janice, yeah, I got a lot of friends in Bermuda. I've been on Bermuda News before. Bermuda actually had me on their news channel talking about a hurricane a couple years ago. So there you go. Pretty strong little system there. All right. I posted this morning. These are the two areas we're watching. Very close together. That's a little odd, actually, I think. Very close together. GFS actually has them kind of merging, but overall there's two spots that are probably going to be independent of each other. But again, this is what it looked like this morning when I did that post. Now, this was back on September 19th. I was talking to the Brew crew this morning. I'm like, I remember we talked about that spot. This is the orange spot. Friday the 19th, 3 days ago, our red spot was coming off Africa, but we still had that wave that wasn't marked yet. That's the mark. So if you wonder, I had a lot of people wonder what this post meant. And I'm like, well, it meant that the spot that's now being highlighted might be watched down the road. And now, it is. So this was curious on my part. Posted this morning. I kind of like these maps. It was a little confusing, but this blob that it's got a red arrow is the blob that's going to eventually be in this red development area, and the orange blob's ahead of it. These areas really are not tracks. They look like tracks. They're areas that they expect development to occur. Kind of are tracks, yes. But more than anything, before we have an actual developed system, these tracks that the NAC puts out are actually development areas, all right? Not necessarily where they're going to go. But in a general sense, yes, that's where they're going to go. So I was posting ensembles, 10-day. Didn't want to go 15. There's so much spaghetti. We'll show it now. But 10 days from right now takes you to October 1st. And if you're worried about the continental U.S., very little. Okay, I always say you're always going to get some chance of systems in late September, October. But now we have a seed. Now we actually have a wave that's got juice attached. So now we say, okay, we got something to put our eyeballs on and watch, steering currents and whatnot. But as far as development goes, in the next 10 days, not seeing anything cancel any plans, worry about anything, except we have an actual thing now. A lot of times models predict a thing to happen, but we don't have a thing. Now we actually have a wave that's showing up fairly, obvious on these maps. So this is a pretty cool setup on weathernerds.org, and this went out to Friday PM, Saturday 00Z. What was interesting about it to me is the GFS is a little more aggressive on the orange wave, and the Euro is a little bit more aggressive on the red wave. But they're both showing general idea of something about the same area Friday PM of this week. So we no more shenanigan posts. Okay. Now that we actually have orange and we have red and we have, more models suggesting possibly. So, again, I'm not seeing any yet to like, call Austin. If you're watching Austin. But I do see a couple that are making things interesting as far as forming, maybe heading a little more west, maybe the East Coast. So yeah, we got to watch them close, for sure. And I don't like to use too many adjectives. There's a lot of breaking news out there this morning. Like we're gonna seriously, I don't know. You can definitely feel the tone of some, and I don't have that tone yet. If that makes sense. So anyway, that's what we got. So Dennis put his skeleton up. Yeah, I'm close. I'm definitely putting out a little here, a little there, starting this week. %. I took it out of the attic, but that was as far as it's got. All right, so that's a good map. It kind of gives you the idea that if we have two things to watch, this is where they're going to be Friday this week. It's only 5 days. All right, let's look at the latest modeling on tropicaltidbits.com. Did my morning walk today. Funny story. Julie goes to the gym. Drew Garabo goes to the gym. Drew posted this morning about being motivated. Julie told Drew that she read his post and helped her get motivated, and Drew was happy because he says, sometimes I don't even think anybody reads my post. So they had a funny laugh about that. And the ironic thing was Emily went to the Bucks game yesterday. We gave them her tickets, but didn't get to go. But she sat right next to John Senning. And remember last year was the 12-foot skeleton. I think I took mine down for Milton. I can't remember. It's not fall till 2 p.m., Lacey. Okay. We'll wait until 2 p.m. Yeah, Jordan, I've been following that storm, but I know it's pretty intense. All right, so these are all your operational runs. These are interesting because most of the time they're late to pick out areas. So when operational runs start to pick out areas, it's becoming a little more believable we have something. So let's look back at the last 3 runs of the GFS. These, blue is low pressure, red is high pressure, and we could learn a lot with steering currents and general ideas. So the 6Z is doing this. I know it's really weak to see, but there's basically 2 little spots here. Oh, what was that? That one and that one. I know they're not really developed, but these are the 2 spots the NHC has marked. And I'm clicking all things here. What the GFS is doing is basically merging them, and yeah, it's getting pretty close to the East Coast there. Maybe that first little piece ends up here. I don't know. GFS is not too clear, but it is consistent. And timing there would be this Sunday. People like to know timing. Turks and Caicos Friday morning. That makes sense. That goes back to that drawing that I did where it could be. So yeah, that's interesting, right? It's a little farther off to the west. Only developing one of the 2 areas. I suspect it's probably the first one. But anyway, there's that. All right, let's look at the 00Z. And there's our 2 spots Thursday. And it kind of merges them. Again, the same thing. Almost exactly the same as the 6Z run. And that's really much it. There's another little spot that pops up 200 hours, but we don't go that far out. It's 10 days though. Interesting. October 1st. So there is a little spot that's shown here October 1st. But we're really going to focus on this week ahead. These little phantom storms will absolutely popping all season long. They make no sense. Here is Friday. There's the same spot on the GFS. And again, it's really close to the East Coast there. So the last 3 runs of the GFS, something Thursday, Friday, entering the Caribbean there, northern parts, Turks Caicos, let's say. And then it, definitely gets it close. And then it would skirt the East Coast. So, we're not going to get out of this mode right now. It's just one of them things. If you're north of the East Coast there, then yeah, you'd always want to keep an eye on it too. But most of them have it hooking. And then, of course, it's doing what GFS does. Look at that. It's October 4th. I mean, here we go. It's spitting out canes left and right. Back to the old GFS. Started the season doing the same thing. And you're going to see this everywhere. Oh my God. People are going to run with this one. We got that. We got this run. Latest 6Z. What did it show? Let's see here. Just that new one popping up. That new one popping up is probably that third wave. And I tell you, the only thing that would be tricky with that third wave is it is a little more a lower rider. This one right here. This one's not marked by the NHC, but more than likely, this is what it's picking up on October 1st on the GFS. All right. So East Coast, yes. Here's a Euro. Here's our 2 spots Thursday morning. A little bit of development Saturday morning. A little more development Saturday morning. And this only goes out to Sunday morning. These are your 2 NHC spots. Here's the 2 spots Friday morning. Not much development, but it does kind of kick it a little bit more off to the west. But hang on a second. I'm going to shut your door. Okay. All right, so this is what the Euro did last night on that first wave. And if you remember a week ago, we were seeing some of these models kind of kicking off something off to the west on that first wave that's now being marked by the NHC. So this one's not really developing it, but you do see it across the state Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. But the main idea is the same thing. We got 2 spots, orange 40%, red 70%. This will be Saturday this week, less than a week. And it could be far enough west to keep an eye on, especially if you're cruising. Sure, a lot of you are cruising. That was the overnight run. Yesterday's 12Z run, same idea. This is Saturday morning, 2 spots. More of a front line comes in this weekend and lifts up the first spot and moves it on out of here. So there's that. All right. Euro AI. Here's Friday morning. Spot. And you kind of leave that spot a little farther to the west. And then it kind of lifts it up. So that's what we're going to be watching, 2 spots. Now, the Euro AI this year, we know how I feel about the Euro AI. It's been hard on guessing systems. Pretty solid on the FAR system, but the first one we're looking at. So, there's really good consistency that we could see some rainy, tropical, low pressure in the Caribbean, Bahamas, into this weekend. In the Canadian, there's Sunday. There's our spot Saturday. So, that's it. That's what we're watching. Not seeing now. You're not seeing any development on these on that first one to be concerned about, right? I mean, that just until we start to see that, we don't make things. We're going to make things up with these two spots. Now down the road, at GFS spitting out storms here and there, everywhere, but that's what it does this time of year. So those are your Canadian Icon. Icon might go out far. It hadn't had a good year either, though. But here is Saturday. There's our two spots. And it kind of curves up. So with this front coming down Friday, if it is indeed coming down, let's see, where's my map at? I don't even know my own webpage. There it is. That's the same spot for 10 years, and I always end up can't find it. All right, so if we do have a front coming down this weekend, here is Thursday. And there's Friday. I mean, if that front comes down Sunday morning, like right here, then the chances of that thing crossing over are slim. Here's Monday morning, unless we have high pressure build back up, like the Euro's saying. So there's a front coming that's going to lift it. As we know that any front here, this is Monday morning, any front would open the door for a system to curve. Let's look at Monday morning on the Euro. And because it's showing a weak crossover here's Saturday. So here's Monday. I mean, the only thing it does is it pushes that front out, and we end up with a very weak system crossing into the Gulf. So again, it wouldn't even be anything to be concerned about, even if it did that. It'd be raining this weekend if that materialized. Maybe not weekend. There's September 30th. So yeah, that's an outlier, I think. So let's look at weather nerds. Try to make sense of all this hurricane season stuff. Here's the latest Euro ensembles. Let's go out 10 days. And you'll see spot 1, spot 2. Majority of spot 1 starts to curve. A couple of them get a little bounce back, but not a lot. So not a lot of stress right now. A lot of them are showing a curve. This would be next Saturday. So again, if you're in the Bahamas this weekend, you can have a little low pressure area sneaking your way. That's that blob right here. You can follow it. You know where it's at. This one right here. This is the one that might make it to there this weekend. And I think that's the one that the GFS is picking up down the road. It might go a little farther west. And this is the one that probably will curve following what we just had, Gabrielle. All right, so there's the GFS or Euro. Let's look at the Google, which some people, still sharing a lot of these Google ensembles, but they're haven't been too impressive this year with them yet. But here's what we got. Here's wave number 1, wave number 2. And the majority of them are kind of curving, but definitely keeping the East Coast watching. A couple of them are bending off to the west. So if we had to watch, obviously Bermuda's watching the far wave, but as far as anybody in the East Coast here and Caribbean, and this would be next Saturday morning or Sunday morning right here. So we could see something close Sunday morning here. The other run of Google and more support for the second one, and a couple of them are bumping off to the west. That's that. Let's look at 15-day. Today is the anniversary of Ian. I did not know that. Erica, look at you, Miss Palm Harbor. I see you. What's going on? Had a nice little hangout with Fran the other day. Fran Hosh. MJO Laura, yeah, we can do that. It's kind of in a enhanced phase a little bit. Candy corn season. I still have my fish tank Boo. I keep it up on my table all year long. I think Emily had a beta fish like 10 years ago, and that was what we put in there. And then, of course, all kids' fish dies. And I kept that little Boo guy. Boo. Boo, boo, boo. Richard Sanford, good morning. Oh, Ian was 928, maybe. Well, maybe when it foreign, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, that's true, Kimberly. Okay. All right, so let's look at some long-range ensembles, and then let's look at the AI. These are always a little more to the west. They've shown a west bias most of the year, but it is showing another area popping into the scene. So 5 days from now, very little support for our first wave, a lot of support for the second wave 5 days from now. And you can see 9 days from now, a little farther to the west, something popping, a little more activity. This is our red 70% wave. This is our possibly the one out in front goes a little farther to the west. Euro AI has kind of been kicking a little bit farther to the west. But the Euro AI this season's been doing this. Violet, thank you, Violet. But it is, it is noteworthy. So I think what we've kind of learned, other than Bermuda, is the red wave probably the highest chances to say it's going to curve. The orange one could be tricky. Some of the AI models are saying it might get a chance to develop if it goes a little farther west. This is still within 10 days. So technically this time next week we could be watching something trying to get going here. So like I said, the Euro AI has been a little more west than other models this season. Here is your, let's see, Euro 15-day, couple crossovers in the Pacific, nothing solid. We always talk about these crossovers in the Pacific. Milton last year came across and combined with a wave, and if you go look at these Pacific storms, and you could do that on Tropical Tidbits, anything with an E. I don't think we have anything out there now, but like this, for example, this is Narda. Is that the only one over there? Yeah. So you get a system that crosses over more into Central America. Sometimes these spaghetti will pop into the Gulf. That's always a source to look at down the road with any system. So, we start getting this CAG set up, which we've talked a lot about. That's kind of what's still gets delayed in the thinking, but water temperatures are warming back up again. Still very hot, very hot. Plenty of fuel. Let's see if the ocean heat content went back up a little bit. Probably did this a little bit, I would think. A little bit. So we had all these cold fronts in the Gulf, and this is Brian McNulty. He tracks ocean heat content, and it came back up a little bit. So it's still like second, third hottest since 2013. So we'll see if it climbs back up. Not a big deal if it does. It's normal, but the water is hot, hotter than normal. Our wind shear's beginning to drop a little bit across the Caribbean, as expected with La Nina. So your overall wind shear is lower than the mean average, and that's because of La Nina coming. Somebody wanted to see the current MJO. We got a couple pages here. Kind of not a strong single, but enough that it's definitely not sinking air. There's one. Here's the other. Heading to October. So we got a pretty good signal heading into the first part of October. So there you go. So we talked about current weather. I don't know if we got any SPC outlooks. Yeah, we do actually. A lot of areas with potential storms today. Look at that. Well, 3 different areas today. Watching for some surprise storms. Then tomorrow, kind of goes a little farther south. Then on Wednesday, there's that front, or Wednesday, the front line's shaping up and could be some storms. I doubt we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. Positively tilted trough. A few strong storms might be possible to the mid-Atlantic, Carolinas. This is on Friday. Thursday, Friday. Huh. So, all right, so the front is going to go. This is Wednesday. But Thursday and Friday, we'll see how far south it goes. I don't know if this one's going to go very far south or not. Let's take a look. Let's go to, well, oh yeah, we already looked at this actually, Monday. But see, it's kind of lost some of its pop. So, this is, oh yeah, it backs up a little bit. This is Sunday. I've been following how far south it's going to go. So technically Sunday, it might be far enough down to bring some cooler feeling drier air on Sunday. So that's a front that is on tap. Let's see what the dry air looks like for Sunday. A little bit of dry air. It's weird. Kind of, that juice kind of gets, well, that's because it had a crossover. That was last night's 0-0-Z run. But anyway, yeah, dry air, likely. You can go to Levi's site, got a good humidity one I like to look at too, 700. Let's see if it shows up here. Let's see. All right, let's see what it looks like. Here comes the front. This is Friday morning. Green is juicy air, brown is dry air. Kind of weird. Look at this upper level low. That might be combined. That's a weird setup. Wrapping in some dry air. But there's your dry air Sunday. Got a weird little upper level low that's attached to that front line. But here's Sunday. Eventually it could whip up some moisture up and around the mid-Atlantic here. So we could see some sneaky storms no matter what when that front kind of bends a little bit. But there is dry air Sunday morning. Let's go to Euro. Watch what the Euro does on the 0-0-Z. Kind of does that same little wrap around. See that? But here's the dry air on Sunday right here. So it's going to be nice. It's going to be cool. Cooler. It's not going to be cold, but might be temperature anomalies. Let's see if it's cooler than normal or this time of year or not. Not really. Psych. So hotter than normal. So it's a hot front. Sunday. So it's not. Look at your Sunday anomalies. 2 to 3 to 4 degrees above normal. Look at that, a lot of red. So there's your cold front. 92 Tallahassee, 92 Panama, and 90 in Orlando. Boy, the euro's way different though. It's only showing highs in the 80s. Oh, there we go. That was 18Z. 89. Still not as bad, but could be some more 60s popping in the picture though. Could be some. So Sunday morning in Upper Gulf, you got some low 60s showing up. So that's nice. Hey, I met some folks from NASA and Space Force. Look at that. Over there at Patrick used to be called Patrick Air Force Base. I think it's Patrick Space. What do they call it? Space Force now, right? Patrick? That's where my dad went. They grew up in O'Galley. No, it's Melbourne. All right, so we're going to take a comment, look at some stuff. Relatable, no, they had a high number count. When they do preseason predictions, though, they don't ever really predict. I don't think they don't predict landfall, but no hurricanes in the forecast. And well, maybe there's this little one right here. Let's put it up. This red 70% area is probably going to follow Gabrielle, but this one could be a hurricane. The orange one's what we got to kind of be watching a little bit, a little sneaky. Let's see what they say about it. Tropical wave, environmental conditions marginally conducive for slow development. Expected to slow down, turn more northwest. Tropical depression could form late week. That's interesting. So, models aren't too aggressive with it. But there have been a few that try to develop it. Let's look at the KMA again. Still some hints of maybe a crossover, but nothing solid. Let's look at the KMA. Usually pretty cool little model here. It's sometimes good about sniffing things out. So it really develops our second system, but it curves it east of Bermuda. Doesn't really do anything with the first one. The first one's tricky. I don't know. It hasn't really been a ton of model support on that first one. But it's 40%. Interesting, right? And the UK. Develops a second one. Here's Friday morning. It's tricky when you got two systems that close together for sure. I mean, there's definitely not common to be that close together. So I know my screen got really opened up there, but that's okay. We're going to wind her down. Let me just put up the water vapor loop. See what it looks like, and we'll just leave it on right there. There we go. There we go. All right. Good. I think I can make it smaller. I don't know. Look good enough. We'll just leave it right there. All right. I'm going to say hi for a few minutes. New England, definitely sports world. The orange one, if it does develop, yes, the East Coast will be watching it for sure, because it's farther off currently, but it is taking that west-northwest motion that we've seen all season, and there is a front coming down this weekend. There are these little lows everywhere. It's incredible, this little upper-level low that's spitting. That is really interesting, actually. That is weird. What is that little thing? Look at that. I'm sure it's mid-level, but got some convection with it. So here's what it looks like at lower levels wind speeds. You can see we got a major hurricane just east of Bermuda. That upper level divergence, definitely 500 millibar level. See it right here. You can see it spinning counterclockwise, but it's not lower level, it's more upper level. Definitely 200, we'll see it. There it is there. But nothing on a lower level. Thus, it's not a surface low, and nothing at all that is to be worried about, but you do see it on the water vapor map, which is kind of interesting, kind of neat. Right here, see it? See it spinning? A little spin it? A little spinner? A little spinach? Yeah, it would be next week, Jennifer. If it was, yes, if anything came out of it, it would be after the weekend. Mike, welcome Monday. Mike Ryder, thank you. All right, Marky Mark in Bermuda, calm. You got a north wind probably. I would think north wind. Let's take a look. Well, no, northwest wind. When it passes you, it'll be north wind. So you got more of a north or an eastern wind right now as the system. Once it passes you, you'll start to get into north winds. So it's winds are coming in from the east right now. Major hurricane though. I don't know if they predicted that or not. Yeah, Steve, yeah, it's a major hurricane, but it's not affecting anybody. It looks like it's going to miss everyone. So, oh, do have a north wind. Okay, maybe this hasn't been updated yet, but that's it. So what I've learned over the years, obviously, people are nervous with hurricane season. It's September, it's October. Usually the busiest months for strong systems in our past. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing any different this year, except we've had less storms. We've only had 7 storms out there. They did predict a lot more active season, but we still have almost 2.5 months left to go. Hurricane season lasts until November 30th. So, Bobby Sue, anything coming to the Bahamas? Well, there is a tropical wave that's going to be close to the Bahamas, possibly. Yes, could be this weekend. So yeah, you'll want to keep an eye on that orange 40% area and see if it can develop or not. Lindsay from Lokahatchee? Where the heck's that at? That's a cool name. The orange area isn't heading anywhere right now. The general area of the orange is not even a thing right now. It's just a tropical wave. So, the best map that I put out there was where it's possibly could be this Friday. That's really all we can do. I mean, until we start seeing development and like things to amp up. But most of the models are everywhere. Some are not developing it. We've seen this year. I've always thought we should, watching in real time is the best advice for this hurricane season. Until we actually get a system, the models have done poorly this year guessing systems. Let's see if the 6Z is updated yet. Yeah, let's see what we got here. 6Z goes out 90 hours. So majority is starting to show that turn. All right, so what you can take away from this is that, let's go back to the islands. Let me go zoom in a little bit more so we can see it better. So we're going to zoom in there, go to 6Z and loop it, and here we go. So what we're seeing here, let's do timestamps. Timing is important. So this should be Friday morning. These are low pressure areas that the Euro ensembles are predicting. Now look, that first wave, none of them are under 1,000 millibar, which means it's just a low pressure area. I think the orange thing looks scary because you don't know what's the orange thing going to be, but in reality, nothing's really showing development this Friday. This is where the blob could be. The blob coming in behind it, this would be where it would be at Friday morning. And then we're seeing a lot of them turn to the north because we got a cold front. So that is very believable at this point. Now, we get a high builds back in. Some of the euros were turning off back to the west again. Always possible, but you know, there's a couple stragglers down here that stay off to the west a little bit more. Euro AI, I mean, I don't even know if it's worth showing it because it's been so bad this year. GFS has done pretty darn good this year. And as far as ensembles go, there's our first wave on Friday morning right here. There's our second wave. You know, GFS has that flow to the north. And if we zoom out and do more of the whole East Coast with the GFS, let's just do North Atlanta there, and we'll just go fast forward. So the GFS, you know, a lot of them are curving away. I know the operational runs are showing, you know, but again, what we've learned with these ensembles this year is those outliers, and so far most of these are turning following that same path. So for now, no worries. Till there is something to worry about. But no modeling this year hasn't suggested that, you know, we've learned outliers on operational runs are happening a lot. So we just kind of look at the overall blend of modeling. And Caribbean's been quiet. Slasky, well, a couple things. One is we've had a very weak Bermuda high, so these storms have been able to lift off to the northwest a little bit more. There's no ridge pushing them down through the Caribbean that we normally see. So everything kind of gets lifted up. And we had a lot of wind shear and dry air this year, too, early on. A lot of these systems just didn't make it. They come off, you know, and there was so much dry air in the Atlantic. They didn't make it, so. Let's see. Hurricane Hunters probably flying out, I think. I haven't been really paying attention to that a little bit. I met a Hurricane Hunter, though, this weekend at the Rays game. Pretty cool. We exchanged numbers. So Amy Joe, morning. Don Dunn, morning. Morning, David Berryhill. Supermodels, what's up, David? How much rain in Palm Beach? Well, Lock is in Palm Beach. Okay. Yeah, West Palm's going to get some rain. This front's backing up. Daily rains. Let's take a look here real quick. Here's your rains today. South Florida, obviously. As always. Day 2 tomorrow. About the same. A little more on the southwest coast of Florida there. This tomorrow rains. This Tuesday. Here's Wednesday rain. Same spot. You can start to see the front coming in. This is Wednesday. So here we got today. Tomorrow. Wednesday. Thursday. Here comes that front. Got a lot of rain to it. Kind of fizzles out though. Here's Friday rains. Saturday rains. And then Sunday rains. So you can see that front loses some juice. And brings a lot of rain, the upper Gulf diagonally northeast. So, Gulf's been quiet. A lot of just these fronts have brought a lot of wind shear. This has been the year of fronts, and this has been the year of some really strong upper level winds. This jet stream has been dipping way south. This is it right here. And anytime you get a lot of wind shear, that's one thing that prevents storms. We haven't had any waves make it over here because the weak Bermuda high, so any energy that normally would have got up here gets turned. So there really hasn't been any system here to even try to get going. We haven't had the CAG set up yet, and we haven't had any crossovers yet from the Pacific. So there really hasn't been any seeds. There hasn't been any stable air that, as far as wind shear goes. That's just an odd setup. These fronts are odd this year. I mean, we've had a lingering front now since August. And no real Bermuda high that we normally see that drives systems off to the west. And I mean, it's common. I'm telling you. Everybody wants a lot of storms, and we think we're going to get a lot of storms. And, you know, look at 22. 22, we had 60-day stretch of no storms in 22. We ended up with 17 storms in 22. Only 2 impacted the continental U.S. 2. Ian and Nicole. So I would say I think a season is defined by impacts. You know, 2 systems. Now this is the year of Fiona, right? Fiona was really rough on Nova Scotia. And then 23, come back to 23 after Ian and Nicole, right? 23 we had 22 storms in 23. But look where they all went. So here's a year you can argue was very active. But we had 1, Idalia. So, I mean, you know, I get it. You know, a season's defined by impacts. You know, like I said, 22, 2 storms impacted the U.S. that year. Ian and Nicole. 23, 1 storm impacted the U.S. Idalia. So, you know, Milton was October last year. Michael was October. Nicole was November. So I, you know, I always say I can't see how we won't have something out there with these conditions the way they are. I just, you know, the pattern's been this bend all year, which we've just haven't had any continue westward, but we've definitely seen this lift. But this was an El Nino year right here, and we had a lot of wind shear, and we had a very weak Bermuda high like we're seeing now. We had a lot of storms do that in 23. We had almost 0 form down here because of the wind shear. The difference of this year is we're going to be in La Nina, and typically when we're in La Nina, there's no wind shear in that Caribbean. You look at 23, we were in red, which is El Nino. Last year we were in neutral. This year we're leaning to La Nina. Past La Nina years, we were 20, 21, 22. 20 was a record year, right? La Nina. And that's kind of where we're going to be at with that part of it. Now, there's a lot of other pieces of the puzzle, but there you go. Nothing to worry about. Where are you going to cruise at, Jocelyn? Bahamas could be a little tricky if that wave does anything. There is a system out there. If you're on the Atlantic side, the waves could be a little tricky. So it doesn't go out far enough. Let's see. This is through the 25th. Let's stay on here. So this weekend, if we get that wave. Alright, so here's our 2 waves. If we did have 2 waves out there to talk about, this would be Thursday, Friday-ish. Front's coming down. There's your front line. There's your new system. So, depending on how strong our little system is on Saturday morning, that's kind of where they could be. And these are 10 foot. If, you know, not bad. Because you know what? They're going to be cruising on the west side of the island. So, you know what? Unless you're going to Bermuda. Hey, buddy. Come here. Say hi. Louis came by. Hey, buddy. They missed you today. Cool. All right. Well, what else is cooking? Anything good? What do you think, Lou? What are you eating? What are you chewing on? What are you looking? Two's too many. Well, two right now, other than colored areas, we're not seeing anything other than blobs of moisture. Second one looks like it got a chance to develop, though. The first one's going to be really interesting. But if you're cruising, it's going to be fun regardless because they always figure out a way to go around the nasty stuff if there is anything nasty. What are you doing? What are you licking? What do you got in your mouth? What do you got? Hair in your mouth? Morning, Ryan Anderson. How you doing, buddy? Fronts are our friend, Tammy. Yes. Fronts are our friend. But that's it. I don't see anything new, anything popping. We're going to keep an eye on the 2 o'clock. The next 2 o'clock advisory comes out from the National Hurricane Center. Bahamas, you'll be fine. Jocelyn, it'll be a good cruise for you. I don't see anything making things bad for you. Might be more early next week. You'll be home by then probably. So, what are you licking? No more. Quit it. Hey. Oh, the Rays, they're so awesome. The Rays management was down there on the field with us, and they all love the doggies. And they brought them a doggy bag. And we got 2 jerseys for Longo and Louie. They got a new baseball tug toy that they love. We got a cool water bottle, a whole bunch of stuff. So the Rays really took care of us. They love the doggies. So I'll probably do a post with the jerseys on them here in a little bit. Just showing everybody about that. So. Alrighty, well, it's a good live. We learned a lot. We learned there's not a lot out there to worry about. We just know there's a couple spots to keep an eye on, and nothing that's got me too worked up about yet. Obviously, we watch things close, but trends are our friends, and the trends are these things eventually might hook. The orange one might be just a little closer to keep an eye on, and if it stays weak, that would be something we would watch. Would be more of a west slower motion that could have more time to get sneaky. So those are big ifs, though, and no models are really showing that. So we don't worry about making things up until we start to see evidence that could happen. So right now we're just casually watching it. And other than the GFS, I don't think anybody should be too alarmed with anything that I'm seeing. Yet, always, until we do. I mean, the Euro on the second system is keeping it south of Bermuda and actually hooks it off to the east. The first system, it kind of makes it weak and maybe brings it across state as a very weak low. That would be early next week. I think that's kind of what the Euro AI was doing, keeping a little farther to the south. But there's our second system, missing the U.S., missing Bermuda. There's our first system. It keeps it weaker west, and then it kind of pulls it to the north. So, the only one that's really tricky to watch is going to be that first one. Like last night's run, it brought a little bit more juice down to the Bahamas, maybe South Florida. Nothing's developed, and then it eventually turns it off to the east there. So... yeah, there's just nothing solid right now to guess at, really. We just know that the conditions right now, we're seeing it right now in real time with Gabrielle, now Cat 3. Wasn't that long ago, they didn't predict that. I think the forecast discussion originally for it to be 85 miles an hour today. So the first forecast from the National Hurricane Center expected Gabrielle to be 85 mile an hour hurricane on the 22nd. 85 mile an hour hurricane, and what is it now? I believe it's more than that, right? It is. I think it's more than that. 120 now? 120? So you see, man, it's supposed to be 130. So things happen quick once we have a thing. And you never, ever, I don't look at modeling for intensity at all. Most operational run intensities are very low. Your higher resolution models do a really good job. As a matter of fact, let's see if that's the case or not. With some of these models, how far back can we go to Gabrielle? Let's see. We can go back to the 17th. See what it predicted for today. So it predicted 981 pressure. What is it today? Let's do forecast advisory. There it is. Pressure is 957. All right, so the Haas predicted for today it to be 981. So it did not predict that at all for today. Haas B predicted 959, so it did a good job predicting the intensity. So it actually predicted 957 millibar today. So on the 17th, Haas B predicted a 957 millibar for this morning, and it's 950. It's 957 right now. It's exact. So the Haas A or B. So that's why we use intensity models. Haas B 5 days ago accurately predicted this to be a 957 millibar system. H Warp I like years ago. It's not even initializing correctly though. That's not right. All right. So it did not predict this to happen. 980. This is just one of the random runs from 4 days ago. It did say 978 though. And then H Mon predicted didn't predict it. So Haas B predicted their intensity. You know, it's cool too. We got some other awesome tools here. So if you look at Tang guidance, you can look at trends and look at their effectiveness with their intensity. So Haas, which one's this? Haas A? Yes, Haas A. Haas A. But this is well, no, it's tracked back to 921. Yeah, this isn't like what I'm wanting. Official forecast. These don't go back in time enough to really. This only goes back a day. But you can see even yesterday, NHC predicted this to be a Cat 2. And it's now predicted to possibly reach more. Cat 4 possibly. Tracks have been solid as a rock. These are your last 6. There's your Azores. Might pass north of the Azores. Might be something to watch down the road there. But here's your last 6 official tracks. There's Bermuda. So it's been very consistent. Euro tracks have been solid as a rock. GFS tracks have been solid as a rock. UK little not so solid, but it's trending more east. Cool. Anyway, all right. So the new blob looks like the GFS Euro AI picked up. Yeah, Daddy Shark, I believe it. There's been modeling showing this spot. One more I haven't even looked at today was this the blended model here. I like the blended model. We put a question mark on that 4 or 5 days ago. The wave ahead of the red wave, 70% wave now. So there's our 2 blobs. It's hard to believe they'd be that close together. That's just odd. Not sure we've seen many systems that close together. Fujiwara effect would come into play. Marco Polo. What were those 2 storms we did? Marco Polo? So these are tropical storm percentage chances here for Saturday this weekend. You can see the second wave's got more support on the Euro than the first wave. This would be where they would be at, and this is tropical storm percentages. Depression, a little more percentages for tropical depression. But it kind of merges them together, kind of like the GFS is showing too, so that's kind of weird. But the Euro is definitely showing a big turn hook there. See that? So that's current Euro, but it'll change. Here's yesterday's Euro. I think it's pretty safe though. We're going to see 2 blobs together here this weekend, with one definitely bringing some rainy, stormy action to Hispaniola, possibly North Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas a little bit this weekend. Still seeing a few signs in the BOC from maybe a little crossover juice. That was showing up a lot lately. This would be Sunday. But, you know, nothing yet to go all in on. But still has decent chances, believe it or not. It's got a little tropical storm percentage chances. So this would be next Tuesday, week from Tuesday. We've been seeing a lot of these modeling runs show that crossover juice. But then it's less on the overnight. So things happen quick in the tropics. So we watch them like a hawk this time of year. Cool. All right. Somebody said I'm worried. Somebody said I'm scared. No. Yeah, Cody wants to know the reliability of GFS. I think terrible 16-day, because all you got to do is look from run to run to run. Each run, if it showed something there at 6Z, it probably didn't show it there at the 0Z, and it probably didn't show at the 18Z. So, you know, you spot weather patterns, you spot areas that historically, you know, and you look for model consistency with other models. You look at ensembles. You look at, you know, GFS this year in the Euro too is when you have 31 members of the Euro, or GFS 51 members of the Euro, and when you see that one outlier going way off to the west, but all, you know, every other outliers or every other ensemble's, you know, more to the east, you question that. And that's we saw that with Aaron. At one time, the Euro had a hit in the Yucatan. At one time, it had a hit in Texas. One time, a Euro had Aaron hit in Mexico, the Gulf, Florida. GFS was hitting Florida on every run. But the ensembles were 99% majority missing the whole continental U.S. So every time we saw one of those operational runs, it got people worked up big time, like really big time, because they're scary looking. You see a hurricane hitting here, there, everywhere. But then you look at the ensembles, and you use a little common sense with the fronts that we've had, and that front began in August, and we've had a front line in place, it seems like, ever since. They don't go west when there's a front, and it went way east. So all those scary operational runs that were being shared ended up obviously not panning out, but there were signs that they were outliers from the get-go, you know. So when your whole ensemble suite is one direction and your one outlier operational run is the other way, it's suspicious, and you don't really take it for a grain of salt. And I know we're all just reading models and stuff, but, you know, I'm looking at this and say, hey, we got 2 blobs right here, and we got a front coming down this weekend. The 2 blobs are very close together, a very tricky setup right here. Interesting. I think the second one's catching the first one. So, yeah. Oh, I ain't worried about anything. Michael says, let's trade the Marlins and the Rays. There you go. But anyway, all right. Well, listen, I've blobbed way longer than normal. They like riding the Gulfstream, Philip. They do. Remember Matthew, Ia, Dorian. They curve around that Bermuda High. They curve around that Gulfstream. Gabrielle's a Cat 3. Yep. Mr. Chatbot. Oh, no, that's our guy, Chatbot. Getting married in Miami. There's no it. but it would not hit if it was a thing this Friday. So you're good. Have a good wedding. Whatever it is will be well off to your east this weekend. So pouring in Palm Beach right now. I saw one little line of storms. It looked like it possibly was. Let's take a look at the old Google radar here. I can zoom super duper zoom in here on you. There you go. You ain't kidding. There's your rain. A lot more rain on the southwest side this week, it looks like. Super duper. All right, I'm going to log off. It's been a while, or been on here a long time. So we'll be live tomorrow for sure, and we should be live the rest of the week. I don't see why not. I'll keep everybody up to date. Probably do a little video after the 12 o'clock hours come out. One of my little short, 90-second weather in a nutshell hats. My girl Irene comes back the 28th, so I'm gonna let my hair go long until then. Good luck to all my friends at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. They have their leadership summit today, and I was supposed to make Sean a video, and I completely forgot yesterday. I'm sure I'm in the doghouse. It's been too busy. It was a heck of a week, man. So yeah, have a great day. Got Monday Night Football. I'm gonna go hang out with Dad a little bit, and I can't see anything else. So we'll see you tomorrow, 9:19 Eastern. And if we got any cruisers, we'll end it with the cruise, because every time everybody's like, really? 5th annual Mike's Road Page Cruise. 5 years in a row now we've been having a huge group go with us on these little cruises. A lot of fun, family fun. All families welcome. This year we're going out of Margaritaville, Tampa Bay. I love Margaritaville out of Tampa Bay. We've been on that ship 3 times. They have an amazing rate for us. That price includes 2 people. So if you divide it by 2, it's 5 nights of fun. And we have a lot of fun events with our group. And one of them that we're putting together is going to be a bar hop on a trolley at Key West. Just MWPs. So that'll be a lot of fun. So anyway, we'll see y'all tomorrow.